Hi guys, and welcome to the video. So for today's topic, I wanted to talk about something more of a recent problem that people are facing, and that is the lack of chicken and egg. So there's less or no chicken at your local Walmart grocery store. And so you're asking yourself, where am I going to get most of my protein from? If you're a bodybuilder, then this is where a lot of your protein comes from. If it's not, this isn't going to be an issue, but odds are some type of protein source is going to be absent in these next couple weeks or in the past few weeks. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about is what alternatives do I have? What alternatives can I look for to replace the chicken and the eggs? So seeing as how the chicken has been a staple, especially particularly, I'm talking specifically about the chicken breast. The chicken breast has been a staple in the bodybuilding diet since bodybuilding was a thing. Pretty much as soon as we found out that the chicken breast is the leanest part of the chicken, it has the most amount of protein. I believe it has around 31 grams of protein per 100 grams. And that's pretty high. I think that's the highest out of any other source of protein coming from animal. Of course, there's different differences in proteins when it comes to animal and plants. But right here, I'm talking about animal proteins. Chicken breast is the highest. So if that's gone, if that's absent, then what do you do? Well, there's other meats you can consider, such as tilapia. There's extra lean grass-fed ground beef. There's white turkey breast and protein powder, tuna cans. If no meats are available, you also have black beans, you have hummus, you have vegan protein options, vegan protein powders are out there. And what is the other one that's slipping my mind? I'll remember later. But anyways, there is a variety. Right now, I just want to highlight some of the better ones that you should look for. So I want to kind of compare, make a little comparison chart so you can see which one has the closest, the highest amount of protein that you can find available at your local supermarket. So for reference, here's the chicken. And it has 31 grams of protein per 100 grams. 31 grams. So that's the baseline. That's what we're going to compare everything to. Starting from the bottom, we're going to do a can of tuna. That one starts us off at 17.6 grams of protein. And these are all going to be per 100 grams. So what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of a can of tuna? Well, advantages are it's pretty accessible at most places. You will find it at most grocery stores. It's you can pretty much eat it straight out of the can, unlike chicken breast and most other meats. You just eat it right off the can. I don't know if you should. What I mean by that is it's probably not going to taste the greatest, but can you? I mean, yes. So it's pretty accessible. If there's nothing else around, just pop one open. You need some protein. There you go. That's a quick 17.6 grams that you can get. Disadvantages. I have heard there are people that have had problems with mercury building up in their system due to eating tuna after a certain amount of days. So you want to try and avoid making this the staple of your diet. It's more of a supplement to a lack of protein, more like a last minute go-to for protein. I mean, you can still make a meal out of it, right? There's no harm in that. But what I'm trying to say is don't make this the main dish every single day. You're eating it 5 times a day, So that's going to build up if you have an intolerance to it, you're gonna find out very quickly. So last thing you wanna do is stock up on that and then find out 2 days later that you absolutely cannot handle any more of this stuff. So just keep that in mind. It's pretty accessible. Just don't eat it for too many days consecutively. And next up, we have turkey breast. That one comes in at about 18.5 grams of protein. So what are some of the pros and cons of this one? Pros, it's relatively lean. It still has a higher-ish percentage of fat. Kind of like a leaner ground beef is what I would compare it to. But a lot of people prefer this over ground beef because some of the nutrients there are a little different. That it differs from like bird and to like beef, and some people just want to try and avoid the hormones that come with eating beef, because most of the time you don't really know where you're getting it from, and unless it's absolutely grass-fed, super organic, and that can get really, really expensive, next best thing would be some like turkey breast, which is right under there as far as price point goes. So it's not as expensive as like the best organic ground beef you can get, but it does have a little bit less protein. It's still a really good choice. As far as accessibility, I've seen more and more places carry it. You won't see that one getting sold out very quickly. Not a lot of people are reaching for this. This is not a staple in most people's diet, so you can easily find it at most stores. So if you see it, that's a good one to go with to kind of replace the chicken breast, at least for the time being. But it doesn't have too much protein, 18.5, so you have to eat more. If you can afford it, it's a great source of protein, I think. So definitely want to keep turkey breast in your list for the next time you go shopping. Next, I got ground beef. So this one, I'm only going to take into account the leanest ground beef. Reason being is because the fattier cuts shouldn't even be in your diet, period. And I'm talking the regular cut, 80-20, sometimes even 90-10. You want to go for the leanest cuts, the organic cuts, and I know those are the more expensive ones. In this case, I'm going to use the 96.4 LG. That's lean ground beef. 94.4. That's the percentage of protein to fat. So 4% fat. You're still getting some fat. It's a good amount. For 100 grams, you're going to get a total of 22 grams of protein. So we're getting up there. So now we're at 22 per 100 grams. So it's still not at the level of chicken breast with 31 grams protein, but definitely a good option. If you're gonna go with the much more organic grass-fed version, that's way better for your health in general. A lot of people prefer that because they do have some issues of like, if this is something that you're eating constantly, it does build up a certain amount of cholesterol. And if you already have some type of health problems and you can't handle red meats on a regular basis, then either you want to go with the highest quality or you just want to avoid eating it on a regular basis. So while this one is higher in content than the top two, it does have the caveat that you can't, not that you can't, but you should try and minimize. Well, that's what I've said for these past two, but this one goes like a lot more because some people think they can eat ground beef every single day. You don't really think that about tuna. Some people, I mean, you can eat turkey breast every single day, but with the lean ground beef, you really shouldn't be eating a lot of it every day. It should be reserved maybe like 1, max 2 meals every day and very high quality. So just keep that in mind next time you go buying it. It is a good option, does have a good amount of protein. So try and go for the leanest you can find and the organic variety at your local grocery store. And what else? I believe we have tilapia. So this is getting up there, guys. This is getting up there with the chicken breast. So now we have tilapia sitting at 26 grams of protein per 100 grams. So that's pretty good. Pros, it's cheap. It's fairly accessible at most grocery stores. Protein is really, really high, as you can see, compared to all of these. You can eat it every day. The only con I can think of, well, there's two cons. One, it stinks to make. So if you don't mind stinking up your kitchen, then that's not a problem. But two, and the most important one that kind of like is the reason I'm making this whole video, is it is a very common food item. So you might not find it to be as accessible nowadays, just because a lot of people will still go for something like tilapia. It's not as niche as super organic lean ground beef or turkey breast or even tuna. But if you can find it, definitely go for it, because tilapia, even though the taste is obviously going to be much different from the chicken, it is basically the chicken, the equivalent of chicken for seafood items. So I know a lot of people like tuna, and because of the omega fatty acids and a lot of other health benefits, but it is a little higher in fats than tilapia. So salmon, I'd compare it more to like ground beef, where if you can get the highest quality, it is good, but it's not something that you should be like a staple in your diet that you're eating 3-4 times a day. Okay, so you want to reserve that, maybe like every once in a while, eat it, and for the health benefits of the fatty acids that you still want to include in your diet. But as a staple, tilapia, you can definitely use it to replace chicken. And finally, this isn't a food item like the rest of these, but I want to put a little star, because okay, so I'll make two categories, guys. So we have the whey. Usually I've seen these somewhere around 28 grams of protein, averaging. Isolate sits a little lower, around 24 grams of protein. And I just wanted to throw in this one. It's like a little fun one to throw in there. Let's say average 40 grams. Sorry, my writing is horrible, but okay. Whey, let's start off with, in general, I wanted to include protein powders because a lot of people will say, hey, well, like, if there's no chicken, why can't I just live off of protein powders? Well, in general, you shouldn't. You shouldn't just be living off of protein powders. You should really, even if it means going vegetarian, go vegetarian, but you should not have a diet that consists only of eating powders as your main source of protein. Why? Reason being, your body breaks down these powders differently than real foods. Real foods have fiber, they have certain nutrients that take time to be absorbed completely into the body. And protein powders, if they don't have anything to slow down the digestion process, they'll pass right through you. And one shake, your body can digest it pretty well. But if you're taking in 3 shakes every day, it's just gonna run right through you. So your absorption rate of these nutrients is gonna be all that great. So you're basically gonna be throwing your money down the drain by drinking these protein powders every single day, 3 times a day, just as having a shake to maintain you physically. Whey protein sitting at 28 grams. This is a good, cheap option. Cheap doesn't mean bad. You can find some really good quality whey proteins. The reason I say cheap is because out of these 3, from what I've seen per scoop, this is the most cost effective. And that is because the filtering process isn't as rigorous as something like an isolate. and it doesn't have any extra ingredients like a gainer. So most people use the whey the whey protein as a gold standard to kind of compare others, like isolate casein, like, okay, this is like the main one. So that's usually where a lot of people start off with. Isolate has less protein, but most of them do come with very, very low to no carbs. So this is more of a cleaner protein, more pure alternative. If you're a competitor and you want to stick with the lowest carbs possible, especially if you're running no carbs on your diet when you're getting closer to competition day, you're going to be eating a lot of this stuff, isolate. So if you're trying to lose weight or you're just trying to maintain, this one does cost a little bit more, but it's a really, really good option because of the low carb ratio. It's very easy to digest. Most of them are lactose free. I have yet to see one that does have lactose, but I don't want to say that they're all lactose free, just most of them. So this one, most of these do have lactose, so that's something I forgot to mention, so just watch out for that. And finally, gainers. Now you might be wondering why I included gainers. Well, it kind of goes with this whole video because some people see gainers and they think, meal replacements. That's not a great idea. Not with gainers. See, the thing with gainers is, like I mentioned previously, you can't be replacing all of your meals with just powders, liquid shakes, because they're gonna run right through you. And most gainers don't have nutrients. They're not made to be a meal replacement. Like, they are and they aren't, because there's macros and there's micros. Most of these gainers are just packed full of what I want to say filler to meet a certain carb, protein, and fat percentage. Now, what these fillers are doesn't really matter as long as they can meet those numbers. So most of the time you're not getting real food. You're just getting a lot of additives that are going to be sitting in your stomach, or your body's not going to be able to absorb any type of nutrients because they don't even have nutrients in the first place. So after a while of eating nothing but gainers, you're going to start to feel it take a toll on your body. So definitely want to avoid replacing all of your meals with gainers. I would say avoid gainers altogether, but I know some people do know how to use them properly as a tool. So just be mindful whenever you use gainers. I don't think it's a good idea to use them right now with everything going on, just because everyone should be kind of focusing on maintaining. Nobody's really like competing. A lot of shows are getting canceled. There's no off season, there's no on season. Nobody is prepping. So just kind of forget about this one for the time being. That's my advice. Go with the top two options. Either one of the two are really, really good options. But do not use them as a meal replacement. Use these other sources as meal replacements if chicken isn't available, or egg, because there might also be an egg shortage. But hey, if you can find chicken, if you can't find chicken but you can find egg, oh, there you go. Egg whites is another really good source of protein. But that about does it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.